Out of all the songs on my new album, Oceans, You Carried Me Home was probably the one that I was the most nervous about. If you've been following my music for a while now, you know that I'm primarily a pianist, violinist, and composer. I've composed a lot of choral music, and I also have many songs that feature other vocalists, but to write something that actually features my own voice as a solo was not only something that was challenging, but also very scary for me.
I've had my own choir here in London now for, oh wow, I guess it's almost 8 years.
I'm trying to write a piece for my voice.
You may be wondering why I decided to sing and what the story is behind this. So let's get into the very personal story behind the song, and then later we'll also go into the behind the scenes of filming this video in the gorgeous country of Scotland. If you haven't yet watched my behind the music and films for the first 3 tracks from this album, you totally should, because some of what I'll talk about in this video is just more of the story that I've already shared in those other BTS features. I really put my heart into these behind the scenes. It feels like a special way I can go into these stories behind the music and the films that I can't do in a few minutes on the music video or a social media post. So, as I've mentioned in the other behind the scenes, I went through a dark night of the soul between 2020 and 2022.
It's been a really hard day.
All of the music from Oceans took 4 years to complete, and side note, I highly recommend listening by starting at the beginning and going to the end because the order of the songs are very much a journey in themselves. The earlier pieces convey some of the pain that I experienced, and then the songs toward the end of the album have a sense of healing to them. You Carried Me Home is my thank you letter to those in my life who helped me through a dark journey. And this song was one that I actually wrote after I thought I had completed the album, so it took me by surprise as well. During 2021, I had been experiencing some chronic throat irritation. The pandemic was going on, so of course I think we were all very aware of any symptoms happening, but this was ongoing and I wasn't sick either. I even went and saw an ear, nose, throat doctor to get checked out. I thought for sure I maybe needed to get my tonsils out or something, but nope, clean checkup. Nothing wrong with me. Sometime after that, as I was working with a therapist to help heal me from some of the things I had gone through, I brought up my throat irritation in a session. She introduced me to the body chakras, which I had never heard of before. We talked about the throat chakra in particular and how it is the body's source of authenticity and truth, where we speak and hold our truth. I learned about others who also, in times of not being fully authentic to themselves, had similar throat irritation, or alternately, completely lost their voice. I thought this was crazy, but as I started putting into practice the act of being more my own authentic self, I noticed my throat irritation was less. And when I put up walls or became a people pleaser or tried to act perhaps how I thought others wanted me to be for them, the throat irritation came back. I started writing You Carried Me Home during this time as well.
Hearing the voice described as the only instrument made by God, that then I think when you hear voices in a way, it draws you in really like very few instruments can.
So I am wanting to write a vocal piece. I'm trying to write a Eric Whitaker is one of my favorite choral vocal composers, and he just has a lot of brilliant advice on chord progressions and how to put chords together and how to hit a lot of emotion in the human voice. So as someone who is very well versed in how to get emotion out of the piano, I'm not as versed as getting emotion out of the human voice. So that's what I am focusing on right now, and hopefully, there will be a song on the album.
This song was being created during my own journey of authenticity. Being authentic to oneself doesn't always feel easy. I think my whole life I always cared too much of what others thought of me. I definitely suffered from being a chronic people pleaser. I never wanted to give anyone any kind of impression that I was anything other than a good person. And I can still hear my mother's voice drilled into my mind saying, avoid even the appearance of evil. Even if you are not doing anything wrong, don't let anyone even have the chance to think you might be. Always be perfect, always smile, always say yes. The list goes on and on. To go from a lifetime of that to trying to not care what people think was a complete shift for me, and it took practice. I'm still learning, still practicing. In March of 2022, my co-producer and good friend, Glenn Gabriel, made a trip to come visit my family and I from his home in Sweden.
So I would say that was the major struggle in making this pizza. Also the bread was really hard baking because I baked it from scratch.
We had some studio time, some outdoor time, and more.
The untamed women of the Olympic National Park.
While he was here, I played him You Carried Me Home. I was quite nervous, actually.
So I've been working on a vocal piece.
Okay.
That's why I had this out. I was recording vocals the other night until 5:30 in the morning. So I wrote this poem. It's really short. It's just, you carried me home through the storm, sheltered me from rain, wipes my tears, took on my pain. You brought me to shore, calmed the sea. You carried me home, you are home to me.
Oh, wow.
And it's kind of like, so you know the Lighthouse song? I wrote that when like we were going through all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like the bookend, kind of like closing the chapter on everything. And I'm not a singer, like I can sing choir stuff, but like I'm not a vocalist, and so it's very like vulnerable for me to do this. If you have throat irritation, or it's because you are not being authentic to yourself, and you're not speaking your truth. So you'll get tightness, like, and that's something I struggle with.
That is so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
One of my friends, she said, I wonder, like, after you're finished going through this whole experience and you feel much more healed and you become into your more authentic self, if your throat irritation will go away. And in my therapy sessions, she's been giving me like little challenges to be brave and speak my truth, which is like social media is really hard for me. Like I'm super private about our church stuff. Like, you know, our close friends know, but like for me to say anything on social media, I would risk like so much judgment and shame from my whole church community.
Yeah.
So I've been like super private, but it's hard for me, and I constantly feel like I'm filtering myself, or I'm like sometimes I want to say things, but I'm too scared, so I just like won't post for like a week.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I don't know, I'm becoming more aware of like, I need to use my voice to eventually free myself, you know?
I had recorded most all of the choral parts myself as a demo. With the exception of the men's vocals, I used the Eric Whitaker virtual library to fill in those parts.
Wow.
Is it bad?
Oh, it's really amazing.
It's definitely work in progress.
It's really, I'm impressed.
Really?
Yeah. You have a very breathy voice as well. I really like that.
Oh, thanks.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Oh.
So well done.
Thank you.
Hello. We are here in Salt Lake City recording choirs today. I've been like pukey nervous for the past 2 days. Totally stressing about this because there's just always something a little nerve-wracking about new music that no one's ever heard before that I composed, and just being always nervous about all the mistakes and people's opinions of it. Also, all of the words and the lyrics, and making sure all the notes are correct, making sure it's singable. I'm a pianist and I do write some orchestration, but like anything about a high note that is not singable, that is Glenn. I'm just kidding.
So you
Hello.
need to introduce yourself and tell them about who you are and what you do.
Well, first of all, you guys sound amazing, and I was so nervous about today, but you've calmed my nerves, and you sound so good. So thank you for being here. I'm a pianist, violinist, composer, and I wrote all this music. This is for a new album that I'm working on, and yeah, my last album charted number 3 on classical, and we'll be recording the orchestra at Abbey Road later for this. What else? I don't know. My music was in the Olympics. It's it goes really well with sports. So if you ever watch figure skating or sports, my music is everywhere. So I want to have fun with you guys. I know you're usually on the ice. You know, my music has been used a lot in figure skating, but I never knew that would happen when I was writing my music. Does the music give you energy when you skate? Okay, yeah. Okay, how do you not get dizzy when you're doing all the spins?
You just get used to it.
Yeah, there would be in things like figure skating.
Anyway, thank you.
This song has 8+ choral parts and very tight harmonies. It's not an easy piece to record, but these singers really did amazing. My journey of healing was me finding myself, becoming my true authentic self, and using my voice to speak my story, to speak my truth. This song was literally me using my voice to speak my words, to speak my truth. It had to be me. I had to sing this. In March of 2023, I went to London to record the entire album with the real orchestra at Abbey Road Studios.
Oh, here we go. Glenn, did you get my call?
Yeah, I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fabulous.
Call me.
I'll call you? Okay, serious band photo, like...
All right, wait.
No, because they have a big crescendo.
We had 2 days of recording, and then afterwards, my husband and I rented a car and took to the countryside of England and Scotland. The lyrics of You Carried Me Home say, "Home, home, you carried me home." Another really special part of this trip is that some of my family heritage comes from both England and Scotland. To go home to countries and to be able to explore some of that history of my relatives was something I'd always dreamed about doing.
It's like a priest and a devil and a devil.
There you go. It's an honorary membership of Salisbury Hall, and it's in recognition of your ancestors here, and a longer than lifetime membership. It was Southern. So there's the history of St. John, and another little interesting book which is about the witches of Salisbury. So.
My mother's maiden name is Lindsay, and her grandfather immigrated to the USA from New Zealand. But before they lived for 30 years in New Zealand, they came from Ireland and Scotland.
It's one of the Lindsay castles.
The Lindsay clan was largely driven out of Scotland by the English in the late 1700s. We found that most of the Lindsay clan castles were in ruins, which was something I hadn't realized until visiting.
Trying to get drone shots of another Lindsay castle, but it's closed.
We visited as many Lindsay castle ruins as possible before heading up into the Highlands of Scotland. This is where some of my other family is from, in particular my grandmother's father, who was of Sutherland. The Sutherlands were a powerful family in that region, even having an entire army and a very impressive Disney-like castle called Dunrobin. But my family was not part of that grandeur. They were from a small farming village in the north of the Sutherland region. It was fun to wear both family tartans on this trip, the Lindsay and the Sutherland clans. And it just made sense to me that I needed to film the music video for this song here as a song about home. I had storyboarded this video out, but with a rental car, a camera, and weather to work around, we literally just drove across Scotland, here, there, and everywhere for about 5 days, shooting footage where we found beautiful spots. My favorite spot was probably Dunnottar Castle near Stonehaven. This castle was rich with history, including the time William Wallace stormed it and set fire to the abbey. Mary Queen of Scots also found safekeeping here for herself and her crown jewels. The castle is literally a fortress. I can see why prisoners couldn't escape. It was a straight drop to a stormy rocky ocean below. These shots with my white dress and hair blowing in the wind were shot down on the rocky beach below Dunnottar Castle, and it was so cold. You wouldn't know it by the shots because I was trying to hide it pretty well, but I was freezing and I would have to stop and put my coat on to warm up, and I couldn't feel my fingers and toes very much.
All right. Oh. Oh. Yeah, left.
Okay, I have to take a break and warm up.
Okay.
Really chilled.
All right. There goes our little princess back to her castle. She got pretty cold. Just shot out here, sunset, and working back to do some drone.
Another iconic location I really wanted to film at was Eilean Donan Castle, which is one of the most photographed castles in the world. It was also a very popular tourist spot, and so we had to either wait until after it closed at the end of the day or get up really early in the morning.
Yep, you're fine.
One of the most challenging things with filming this video was the fact that I'd never sung to a camera before. I had no idea what to do with my hands or my face. I found myself watching countless other YouTube music videos for inspiration.
Let me grab focus. Yep. Looks beautiful.
Honestly.
Do you want?
And in the end decided to just go for a straight shot look into the camera and just try to be myself. But I won't lie, it felt completely awkward since usually when I play my piano, my hands have a really busy job.
We're getting ready to film hopefully some shots for a music video. This place. Hello. We're at Eilean Donan. Shooting a music video in between people walking by.
Or yeah, trying to.
Yeah, trying to.
Blocking out the people.
Instagram versus reality.
Reality. Instagram. Hey, what'd you find?
Don't call it. We just finished shooting on the bridge, trying to manage a lot of tourists and not getting them in the shot. It was difficult.
Really pull it off.
No, I'm freezing. Let's go get some dinner.
You can hold that one.
Okay.
I'll hold this one.
Okay.
These gorgeous shots on the cliffside were taken on the Isle of Skye. Something unique about the UK to us Americans is their laws around bypassing farm fields and such. You are allowed to walk through someone's land to get somewhere, which is just crazy to me. This felt so wrong and weird as Americans, where in the USA, people are extremely protective about their property. We kept wondering if we were trespassing or doing something wrong, but we're assured it was okay.
We are filming shots for a music video today, and we're on this really gorgeous point. There's cows up here. And it's been fun trying to dodge all of the cow pies. Check out these brave sheep. It is cold. I am wearing a dress, but we have tights, 2 layers, socks, and boots. All in.
I am recording now, so let me all the way down. Now the light is off. I'm going to come all the way back up really fast. Back down. Yeah, this is a money shot. Action.
Scotland is also a very drone-friendly country, unlike the USA. Whenever we film drone in the US, we will get angry looks from people, or they just get mad at us. But in the UK, you can get your drone out and film as long as it's after closing hours and not bothering sightseers. So it was refreshing to be able to freely film all these beautiful drone shots of the countryside and castles. Filming on that cliffside was kind of scary for me, as well as I have a massive fear of falling and edges. It took a lot for me to even get as close as I did to the edge for these shots and to just pretend like I was all honky-dory about it.
I don't know how I talked her into going through all that cow manure, but I didn't think she would do it, but I told her to come to this cliff for that epic shot. And I think she's gonna do it. We'll see if she freaks herself out.
Brave today and conquered my worst fear, which is edges, as you can see. But took one for the team and it was worth it for the shot.
Beautiful. And there's Instagram, there's reality. We're at a cow pasture. Magic video shoot shot.
I need to make a call. So I'm gonna go do that.
Okay.
Let's talk about the coloring of this video. While I do the directing and editing of my videos, I do have Ryan McNeil always do the color grading, and it's kind of like what mastering is to mixes for music. It just gives that professional polish. And I have to say, this video in particular is probably one of my favorite color grading jobs that Ryan has ever done. Here are some comparisons of the gray raw scale shots to the beautiful color grading that he did. Editing-wise, this was a best shots only video. I had so much beautiful footage to work with and to choose from. I think eventually I'll probably put out some videos of all the other beautiful shots that we did take that I didn't use in the film because everything was just so breathtaking. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes look at both the creation of the music and also the film. One question I get asked a lot is, how do you get ideas from your head to come out into the music or the film, just how you hear it or envision it? If anything, I feel like showing you some of what went into creating this song in particular, and the film shows that journey. All art can be traced back to a single thought or idea that eventually turns into the end piece, which is tangible and digestible to others around us. Don't be afraid to do something new or something that challenges you. It might just turn into a grand adventure that heals your soul too.